Well, hello and welcome to our Bible study time. It's great to be with you. We left off with Abraham and Isaac getting ready with two young men to head up to Mount Moriah to meet God there. And this is Abraham's pinnacle moment, I believe, and I think it's our story as well. Where I left off last week, we talked about maybe some of the emotions, some of the things that were going on within Abraham. And he had come to the end of himself, and I think it's here that God sees fit to say, all right, we're ready to do some major business here, Abraham. And he takes them or invites them to come to Mount Moriah. They gather, and this is where we are today. And so let me read some of that from the scriptures here. So Abraham reached out and took the slaughter knife and to ritually slaughter his son. And I'm reading a version a scholar is taking from the original Hebrew. So let's see, your story might be just a little bit, your translation might be a little bit different here. And the Holy One's angel called to him from the heavens and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Do not raise your hand against the boy. Do not do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God. You have not withheld your only son from him. And then Abraham looked up, and it's literally raised his eyes. And he saw a ram caught by the horns in a thicket. And he went and took the ram. And he caused it to ascend as an olah, or burnt offering. You remember that word? In his son's place. And this is Genesis chapter 22, verses 10 through 13. And so what we have here is Abraham has reached this place of total surrender. He's emptied himself of all his grief over Ishmael, his dependence on Isaac for his happiness. The Lord has stepped in and said, essentially, now Abraham, you know why you're brought here, and it wasn't to sacrifice his son. It was to come to this place of completely emptying himself so that God can fill him up. And so God says, Look, Abraham. And through, I'm going to imagine tears, Abraham looks and it's almost like God is saying, can you see it? Can you look up now? And think about this. The scriptures are saying they went to the top of the mountain. So standing at the top of the mountain, he looks up. He raises his eyes. He raises his eyes above the altar that he's built. He raises his eyes above the mountain that's there, and he looks. I'm going to say he looks at another realm that God kind of opens up. I'm going to say the heavens or the heavenly story to him, and he says to Abraham, "Do you see the ram?" And it can be translated lamb that I have provided for you. And Abraham looked up as the Lord instructed him to do, and though he was standing on the top of the mountain, he continued to look up, and at last his eyes are opened up, and he really sees. There's a ram, and I personally suspect that Abraham was looking at the lamb that was slain before the foundations of the world. And what Abraham saw that day would be described as a lamb caught in a crown of thorns. And he saw this lamb that God provides for the slaughter uh, with the crown of thorns at the place of total surrender. This is a place where tears of submission to God reign. The place that Abraham stands is Melchizedek. The place is the king of righteousness. And it's there that the ram is seen and still seen for us. God wants to take us to Mount Moriah as well and to look up. And it's here that God reveals I'm going to say another characteristic, or Abraham's able to handle what God is revealing here. And God, in a sense, is given or reveals a new name, Adonai Yireh. It means one who is seen, the one who is seen, who reveals himself, who makes himself manifest to us. So this is a God who reveals himself to us. That's the name in Genesis 22, verse 14, that God gives himself to Abraham, and obviously through Abraham's story to us as well. It's on this mountain, Mount Moriah, that the Holy One, he will be seen. And again, Genesis 22:14. And so, as we prepare for our Thanksgiving celebration here, let's maybe remember this ram that is finally seen as eyes are lifted up. Maybe, like Jesus says, if he's lifted up, I'll draw all people to me. And so this Thanksgiving, let's remember that ram that's caught in a thicket with a crown of thorns. That is what God wanted Abraham to see. Is what God wants us to see as well. This is the place where heaven touches the earth. It's the place where the eternal covenant that God wants to make with his people, with his children, is made. And I would say, as we encounter this sacrificial lamb, Jesus, that we find our destiny in this world. And well, I just want us to ponder that, and I think be thankful for what God has provided. He has provided a sacrifice for each one of us. I'll stop there. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye now.